I am a songwriter and a independent artist ISRC vs ISWC, the code that actually matters here. This trips up almost every first time MLC registrant. An ISRC identifies a specific sound recording. An ISWC identifies the underlying composition. The MLC matches royalties to compositions, which means ISWC is the code that drives your payouts, not ISRC. You do not need an ISWC to register with the MLC, but supplying one, or letting the MLC assign you one, dramatically improves match rates against streaming usage data. When a streaming service reports usage to the MLC, the matching engine tries to link the recording to a registered composition. Without a clean ISWC link, your song can sit in unmatched status for months even after you have a member account. The 2026 claim process, step by step. The MLC calls registration connect to collect. It is free, fully online, and takes roughly 30 minutes if you have your catalog list ready. Step 1, confirm you are eligible. You qualify if you wrote, or co-wrote, any musical composition that has been or will be streamed inside the United States, you own at least some of the publishing share, and you have not signed that share over to a publisher or admin company. Self-released artists who write their own songs almost always qualify for at least a partial share. Step 2, search the missing member lookup first before signing up. Search the MLC's missing member lookup at themlc.com. This is a public database of right shoulders the MLC has identified as likely owed money but who have not yet registered. A hit confirms you have unclaimed royalties waiting and gives you a reference number to speed up enrollment. Step 3, create your member account on themlc.com, click Connect to collect and start the sign-up flow. You will provide personal identity information for verification, set a username and password, and answer questions about your role with respect to your songs. Self-administered songwriters get routed to the member hub. Songwriters whose catalog is partially handled by a publisher get routed to the Songwriter Hub instead. Step 4, build your publisher profile. Even if you have never registered as a publisher, the MLC requires you to set up a publisher entity. It can simply be your name doing business as your songwriter name. This entity is what receives payments. You will provide W-9 information, a payment method, ACH or check, and tax residency details. Free Spotify audit. See exactly where your Spotify profile is leaking growth. Independent artists miss an average of $800/year in unclaimed royalties. Get my free audit. Or browse campaign plans. Step 5, register every composition. This is the centerpiece of the process. For each song you have written, you submit, composition title. All co-writers and their ownership splits must total 100%. ISWC if you have one, at least one linked ISRC for each recorded version, original release date and any alternate titles. You can register songs one at a time in the portal or upload a bulk catalog via CSV. The bulk template is the fastest path if you have more than 10 songs. Ari's Take has a step-by-step songwriter walkthrough that mirrors the MLC's official guidance and is worth bookmarking. Step 6, resolve conflicts and disputes. If two parties claim overlapping shares of the same composition, the MLC flags it as a conflict and freezes payouts on that song until resolved. Conflicts usually appear when a co-writer registered first with different split percentages. The portal includes a dispute workflow where you upload supporting documentation, split sheet, signed agreement, and the MLC mediates. Step 7, watch the payment schedule. The MLC distributes monthly. Royalties from a given usage month are typically paid out roughly 2 months later, after streaming services report and the MLC matches. Your statements appear inside the member hub with a usage breakdown by service. Retroactive payouts on newly matched historical usage land as a one-time catch-up payment. Claim process quick checklist. Use this checklist to move from zero to first payout without skipping a critical step. Hashtag step time required where 1 search missing member lookup 2 minutes the MLC.com 2 gather W9 and bank info 10 minutes offline 3 list every composition with co-writer splits 15 to 60 minutes offline spreadsheet 4 create member account 15 minutes the MLC.com/get-started 5 set up publisher entity and payment method 10 minutes member hub 6 register compositions, single or bulk CSV, 5 to 90 minutes member hub catalog tab 7 link ISRCs to each composition 5 to 30 minutes member hub catalog tab 8 review match results after 30 to 60 days 10 minutes member hub statements if you run promotion campaigns and want to know what your stream volume should translate to in actual songwriter earnings, plug your numbers into the royalty calculator or the Spotify calculator before you register so you have a baseline expectation. What you can realistically expect to collect U.S. digital mechanical rates under the current statutory rate sit around $0.0008 to $0.0012 per stream, paid to the songwriter side. That number is small per stream but adds up fast on any song with consistent playlist placement or back catalog volume. A song with 500,000 US streams generates roughly $400 to $600 in mechanical royalties, paid through the MLC, that you collect on top of whatever your distributor pays you for the recording. For reference on the recording side, our breakdown of how much Spotify pays per stream in 2026 covers the master recording rate, and our Spotify royalty calculator, Real Math Post separates the master and publishing components clearly. When you need an admin instead of going direct with the MLC works well if you control your full publishing share, write only your own catalog, and are comfortable managing registrations yourself. If you have international ambitions, sync placements, or co-writes with major label writers, a publishing admin company, Songtrust, CD Baby Pro, Centric, others, can collect MLC money on your behalf and also handle international societies you cannot reach directly. We cover the trade-off in detail in our Music Publishing for Independent Artists Guide and the more advanced Music Publishing Administration breakdown. The short version, if you only release in the US and write your own songs, direct MLC registration captures most of the value. If you collaborate, sync, or chart internationally, an admin earns its 10 to 15% commission. Pairing MLC income with promotion instant download $9 the streaming royalty toolkit stop guessing what you earn. Country by country payout cheat sheet plus an earnings calculator that shows exactly how many streams turn into real money. Per country payout cheat sheet, Spotify, Apple, Tidal, Amazon. Earnings and break-even calculator, streams, dollars. Every royalty type explained on one page. Unclaimed royalties checklist, MLC Plus Pro setup, get it $9. Secure Shopify checkout instant PDF delivery recommended campaign 6,000 plus stream/month starter plan $149/mo turn your music into consistent revenue with 200 campaign streams hitting your profile daily. See plan details. Compare all plans verified in Spotify for artists geo-targeted cancel anytime mechanical royalties scale with stream volume. The reason most indie songwriters dismiss the MLC as not worth the paperwork is that their stream counts are too low for the math to feel meaningful. That changes once a song gets into rotation. If you are running playlist promotion or considering it, our campaign plans page lays out the stream volumes typical for each tier, and the free audit tool checks whether your current setup is leaking money before you spend on growth. Combine consistent playlist placement with proper MLC registration and you start collecting from both sides of every US stream, not just the recording side. For the performance royalty piece, the third major bucket, are performance royalties. How to collect in 2026 post covers ASCAP and BMI sign up, which you should complete in parallel with your MLC registration. Frequently asked questions: is the MLC free to join? Yes. The MLC is funded by an administrative assessment paid by streaming services, not by songwriters. Membership, catalog registration, dispute handling, and payout processing carry zero fees for the songwriter or publisher. Beware of any third party charging an upfront fee to register you with the MLC, because the official process at themlc.com is always free. Can I claim royalties from before I registered? Yes, with limits. Once you register and match your compositions to historical usage data, the MLC will pay out retroactively for any matched usage going back to January 2021. Older pre-2021 mechanicals were settled separately under the MMA's historical unmatched royalty transfer and are not individually claimable through new registrations today. Do I still need ASCAP or BMI if I sign up with the MLC? Yes. The MLC handles US digital mechanical royalties only. ASCAP, BMI, and SESIC handle performance royalties from radio, TV, live venues, and streaming, which is a separate revenue stream. You need both. Most working independent songwriters end up with ASCAP or BMI for performance plus the MLC for mechanical, and that combination covers the US domestic basics. What happens if my co-writer registered our song first with wrong splits? The MLC will flag the overlap as a conflict and freeze payouts on that composition until both parties agree on splits. You file a dispute through the member hub, upload your split sheet or written agreement, and the MLC mediates. Do not skip getting a written split sheet at the time you write any song. It is the single best protection against frozen royalties later. How long after registering do payments start? Once your account is live and compositions are registered, matching begins on the next monthly cycle. Most members see their first payout 60 to 90 days after registration, covering whatever usage has been matched in that window. Catalog-wide retroactive matches can take 6 months or longer to fully process, especially for older songs without ISWCs. Does my distributor, DistroKid, TuneCore, CD Baby, already collect this for me? No, with one exception. Your distributor pays you the master recording royalty for the recording, not the songwriter mechanical for the composition. TuneCore offers an opt-in MLC partnership that can route your mechanicals to them, and CD Baby Pro acts as a publishing administration standard. DistroKid does not collect US mechanicals on your behalf, so DistroKid users almost always need to register directly with the MLC. What if I co-wrote a song with someone signed to a major publisher? Register your share only. Major publishers handle their own writers' shares directly with the MLC, so you only need to claim your percentage. List the co-writer accurately and indicate that their share is administered by their publisher. The MLC's matching engine handles the split routing automatically once both sides are registered. On this page, what the black box actually is: why self-published songwriters are still owed money. MLC vs Pro vs HFA vs Distributor, who pays what? ISRC vs ISWC, the code that actually matters here. The 2026 claim process, step-by-step claim process, quick checklist, what you can realistically expect to collect when you need an admin instead of going direct. Pairing MLC income with promotion, frequently asked questions, free resource, revenue maximizer guide. Discover the 7 revenue streams most independent artists miss, plus exact steps to claim uncollected. You're at email.com. Get it free weekly playbook, 1 actionable insight every Tuesday. Join 5,000 plus independent artists getting algorithm updates, marketing tactics, and growth strategies. You're at email.com. Subscribe free, no spam. Unsubscribe anytime. Free audit, no card required. How much streaming revenue are you leaving on the table? Independent artists miss an average of $800/year in unclaimed royalties. The free audit shows your current royalty footprint, missing registrations, and which platforms are underperforming relative to your catalog size. Find my revenue gaps. Explore revenue tools. 5,000 plus artists audited takes 2 minutes. No credit card required. Already a customer? Open dashboard. Campaign dashboard. Turn knowledge into action. Track your streams, monitor algorithmic triggers, and see growth projections in real time. The campaign dashboard puts everything you just read into practice. See campaign dashboard view pricing 2,400 plus artists tracking their growth with Chartlex. About the publisher. About Chartlex. Chartlex is a music promotion company founded in 2023 that has delivered over 21 plus verified Spotify streams for independent artists. We analyze campaign data across 2,400 plus artist promotion campaigns, publish 250 plus music industry research guides, and run 100 plus daily artist audits across Spotify and YouTube. Our coverage spans Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Bandcamp, Meta Ads, sync licensing, and royalty administration in 5 languages. Founded 2023, 3 years verified streams delivered 21 plus for indie artists campaigns analyzed 2,400 plus proprietary dataset research guides 250 plus published daily artist audits 100 plus Spotify plus YouTube platform coverage Spotify YouTube Music Apple Music Bandcamp Meta Ads TikTok sync licensing royalty administration. About Chartlex. Get a free artist audit. Browse 250 plus research guides methodology. Chartlex Research combines proprietary campaign performance data with public industry sources including IFPI Global Music Report, MIDA Research, Luminate Year-End, RIA, and Music Business Worldwide. All findings are refreshed quarterly. Last verified, August 23, 2026. Keep reading Money 15 minutes. Read Mechanical Royalties Explained for Musicians, 2026. Mechanical Royalties Explained, the statutory rate, streaming mechanicals, MLC registration, and how to collect every dollar owed to songwriters in 2026. Daniel Brooks Business 24 minutes. Read Music Royalty Audit Guide 2026, how to find the money you're owed. How independent artists run a 2026 royalty audit, where money hides, MLC, Sound Exchange, foreign CMOs, YouTube Content ID, missing cue sheets, the 10-step checklist, and when to hire a third-party auditor. Daniel Brooks Business 16 minutes. Read Music Publishing Explained for Independent Artists, 2026, Music Publishing for Independent Artists, Pros, Mechanical Royalties, Sync Licensing, and how to collect every dollar owed to you as a songwriter. Daniel Brooks Free Spotify Audit 2 minutes. No credit card get audit. Chartlex, the complete resource hub for independent music artists. Master streaming, marketing, and build a sustainable career. Browse Spotify packages. Get a free AI audit. Launch Artist Hub. Message us on WhatsApp. Learn blog. All resources free tools. Streaming, marketing, business, touring, money, career managed, takeover series, growth system services, Spotify promotion, YouTube campaigns, Meta Ads, free Spotify audit, artist growth score, promote a music video company. About us, contact, case studies, affiliate program, partner program, FAQ, authors Marcus Vale, Lena Kova, Daniel Brooks, copyright 2026 Chartlex. All rights reserved. How to claim your share of the MLC's $424 million black box pool, 2026 walkthrough. Learn how to claim MLC unclaimed royalties from the $424 million black box pool. Step-by-step 2026 walkthrough for self-published songwriters and indie artists. New unmatched royalties accrue every month, and as of the January 2026 distribution, the MLC was still holding the residual from January 2021 usage. Self-published and indie songwriters who never registered with the MLC are the single largest group missing money. 60% of independent artists running active Spotify promotion have never created a member account at themlc.com, which means their US mechanical royalties from Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and YouTube are sitting unclaimed. Registration is free, takes about 30 minutes, and unlocks retroactive payouts back to January 2021. Streams on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, or YouTube inside the United States, the streaming service owes a mechanical royalty to whoever wrote the song. How do I register for my songs? If others have not done so, route all future US mechanical payments through the MLC for matching and distribution. If you wrote a song, released it through DistroKid, and never registered the composition with the MLC, your mechanical royalties on every US stream are accruing unmatched right now. Your distributor handles the recording side, not the songwriter side. Those are two completely different revenue streams, and most independent artists only collect one of them. Entity royalty type source: what it pays you for the MLC mechanical, US digital, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, Pandora streams, and downloads inside the US ASCAP/BMI/CESIC performance radio, TV, venues, streaming public performances of your composition HFA, Harry Fox, mechanical, physical/sync, labels, sync licenses, physical product, physical sales, sync placements, some downloads, distributor, DistroKid, etc. Master recording streaming services: the sound recording, not the song. Your distributor pays you as the artist on the recording. So we are to pay our artists. ASCAP pays me for song publisher stuff. Your pro pays you for performances of the underlying song. The MLC pays you. The US Digital Mechanical, 2018 Music Modernization Act created the MLC to fix exactly this problem. Music royalties explained, every type artists need, 2026, all 6 music royalties explained with real payout numbers, mechanical, performance, sync, and digital, plus collection setup for indie artists. DB Daniel Brooks, March 12, 2026, updated April 27, 2026, 20 minutes. Read reviewed by the Chartlex editorial team. Editorial policy: quick answer. There are 6 main types of music royalties: mechanical, performance, sync, digital performance, neighboring rights, print, and microsync. According to Chartlex campaign data, independent artists who register with both a pro and a mechanical collection agency earn an average of 30 to 40% more total revenue from the same number of streams compared to artists who only collect through their distributor. Last verified, May 3, 2026. Refresh cadence, quarterly. Chartlex finding: according to Chartlex, a music promotion company founded in 2018 that has delivered 21 plus verified Spotify streams for independent artists, analyzed 2,400 plus campaigns, published 250 plus music industry research guides, and runs 100 plus artist audits daily across Spotify and YouTube. Independent artists who register with both a pro and a mechanical collection agency earn an average of 30 to 40% more total revenue from the same number of streams compared to artists who only collect through their distributor. Why most independent artists leave money on the table every time your song is streamed, played on the radio, performed in a coffee shop, or synced to a YouTube video. Multiple royalty types are generated simultaneously. A single Spotify stream, for example, produces both a performance royalty and a mechanical royalty. These royalties flow through different pipelines to different collection agencies. The problem is that most independent artists only collect 1 or 2 of these revenue streams. They upload through a distributor like DistroKid or TuneCore, see money appear in their account, and assume they are being paid everything they are owed. They are not. Distributors collect your recording royalties, the share paid to the master recording owner, and sometimes your mechanical royalties. But performance royalties, neighboring rights, and sync fees flow through entirely separate channels. If you are not registered with those channels, that money sits uncollected, and after a certain period, it disappears into a black box of unmatched royalties. This guide maps every royalty type, explains who pays it, who collects it, and exactly what you need to do to make sure you are not leaving money behind. The 2 copyrights in every song. Before breaking down royalty types, you need to understand the foundational concept: every recorded song contains 2 separate copyrights. The composition copyright covers the underlying song, the melody, lyrics, and chord structure. If you wrote the song, you own this copyright. This is the publishing side. The sound recording copyright covers the specific recorded version of that song. If you paid for and released the recording, you own this copyright. This is the master side. Each copyright generates its own set of royalties through its own collection channels. As an independent artist who writes and records your own music, you likely own both copyrights, which means you are entitled to royalties from both sides. But you need to register with the right organizations on both sides to actually receive them. Copyright, what it covers, who owns it, indie artist, royalty types, composition, publishing, melody, lyrics, structure, the songwriter, performance, mechanical, sync, print, sound recording, master, the specific recording, the artist/label, digital performance, master, sync, streaming, recording, share. Understanding this split is critical. When someone says I get paid from Spotify, they are typically only receiving the sound recording side through their distributor. The composition side often goes uncollected. Mechanical vs performance vs sound recording, the distinction that trips everyone up. Before going through each royalty type, lock in the three categories that account for the vast majority of streaming income confusion. Every Spotify stream generates all three simultaneously, but they pay at different rates and flow through different organizations. Royalty type, what it is, who pays, who collects. Rate, US, 2026, mechanical right to reproduce, the composition, distributor/label/streaming service, music publisher, or MLC for streaming, 13.1 cents/song. Physical, phono records for $0.001 to $0.002 stream. Performance right to publicly perform the composition, venue/broadcaster/streaming service. Pros, ASCAP/BMI/CESIC/GMR, $0.0008 to $0.0012 stream. Spotify, varies by medium. Sound recording right to reproduce/distribute the actual recording. Distributor/label, artist, master rights holder, the per stream rate cited everywhere, $0.003 to $0.005. Spotify, $0.0039 US average. The mnemonic that prevents confusion: mechanical equals composition/songwriter, one right. Performance equals composition/songwriter, different right. Sound recording equals artist/master. When older guides cite $0.003 to $0.005 per stream mechanical, that is wrong. They are conflating the artist-master royalty, sound recording, with the songwriter mechanical royalty. The mechanical only share is roughly $0.001 to $0.002 per stream. The artist-master is the larger piece. Collecting all three is what gets independent artists from $0.0039 per US stream up to $0.005 to $0.008 per stream blended. Based on royalty data analyzed across 2,400 plus Chartlex campaigns, artists who registered for all three, Pro plus MLC plus distributor, collected roughly 30 to 40% more total revenue per stream than artists collecting through their distributor alone. The gap widens further if international streams are involved and a publishing administrator is in place. Performance royalties. Performance royalties are generated whenever your song is performed publicly. Publicly has a broad legal definition that includes radio airplay, terrestrial, satellite, and internet radio, live performance at a venue, festival, or event, background music in restaurants, bars, stores, and gyms, streaming on interactive platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, etc. TV broadcasts, including background music in shows. Performance royalties are collected by performing rights organizations, pros. In the United States, the three pros are ASCAP, BMI, and CESIC. Internationally, each country has its own pro, PRS in the UK, GEMA in Germany, SOCAN in Canada, Opera Amcos in Australia. Who pays? The venue, broadcaster, or platform pays a blanket license fee to the pro. The pro then distributes that money to registered songwriters and publishers based on usage data. How much? Performance royalties vary widely. A single terrestrial radio spin on a major station can pay $0.10-$0.30 per spin. A Spotify stream generates roughly $0.0008 to $0.0012 in performance royalties. On the composition side, pro blanket license rate. The $0.003 to $0.005 figure cited elsewhere is the total streaming royalty combining the artist master share, songwriter mechanical, and performance share, not the performance portion alone. Live performance royalties depend on the venue size and whether you file set lists. What you need to do: register as a songwriter with one, and only one, pro. If you self-publish, also register as your own publisher. File set lists after every live performance. For a step-by-step walkthrough, see the Pro Registration Guide. Common mistake: many artists register as a songwriter but forget to register as their own publisher. This means the publisher's share of performance royalties, typically 50%, goes uncollected. If you are independent and self-publish, you must claim both the writer and publisher shares. Mechanical royalties are generated whenever your composition is reproduced, meaning copied onto a medium. This originally referred to physical reproductions, CDs, vinyl, but now primarily applies to interactive streams on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon Music, etc. Permanent digital downloads on iTunes, Bandcamp, Amazon physical sales, CD, vinyl, cassette, ringtones. In the United States, the mechanical royalty rate for interactive streaming is set by the Copyright Royalty Board, CRB. The current rate structure allocates a percentage of the platform's total revenue to mechanical royalties, which works out to roughly $0.001 to $0.002 per stream on the composition side, the songwriter share alone, not the total streaming royalty. Who pays? The streaming platform or the entity making the reproduction pays mechanical royalties. In the US, the Mechanical Licensing Collective, MLC, collects blanket mechanicals from streaming platforms and distributes them to songwriters and publishers. How much? For physical and download sales, the statutory mechanical rate is 13.1 cents, $0.131, per song for 2026 under the Copyright Royalty Board's Phonorecords 4 ruling, songs 5 minutes or under. The 9 colones and 17 centavos rate cited in older guides is the pre-2023 rate and no longer applies. For streaming, the songwriter mechanical share runs roughly $0.001 to $0.002 per stream, separate from the artist master royalty of $0.003 to $0.005. What you need to do: register with the MLC, Mechanical Licensing Collective, at themlc.com. This is free and takes about 15 minutes. Also register your songs with your distributor's publishing administration service if they offer one, or use a standalone service like Songtrust or Publishing Collect. Common mistake: assuming your distributor handles mechanical collection. Some distributors, like DistroKid, do not collect mechanical royalties at all, they only handle the master/recording side. Others, like TuneCore, offer publishing administration as a separate paid service. Check your distributor's terms carefully. Sync royalties. Synchronization royalties are generated when your music is paired with visual media, TV shows, films, commercials, video games, YouTube videos, and social media content. Sync licensing involves two separate licenses: sync license, permission to use the composition, paid to the songwriter/publisher, master use license, permission to use the specific recording, paid to the master owner/label. As an independent artist who owns both copyrights, you receive both fees. This is actually a significant advantage over signed artists, because labels and publishers often split sync fees or take large percentages. Who pays? The production company, ad agency, game developer, or content creator who wants to use your music pays a one-time sync fee, negotiated per use, plus ongoing performance royalties when the content airs. How much? Sync fees range from $0, gratis licenses for indie films, to $50 to $500 for small YouTube placements, $1,000 to $25,000 for indie films and TV shows, $10,000 to $100,000 for major TV placements, and $100,000-$1,000,000 plus for national TV commercials. The Sync licensing guide covers negotiation strategies in detail. What you need to do: make your music available for sync by registering with sync licensing platforms, MusicBed, Artlist, Songtradr, or working with a sync agent. Keep your metadata clean and ensure you can clear both the master and composition quickly. Speed is often the deciding factor in landing placements. Sync placement type: typical fee range, performance royalties, student/indie short film $0 to $250 minimal, YouTube content creator $50 to $500 minimal, indie film/documentary $500 to $5,000 moderate, TV show, cable/streaming $1,000 to $25,000, significant major network TV $10,000 to $75,000, very significant national commercial $50,000-$500,000 plus varies, video game $2,000 to $50,000, none, no broadcast, digital performance royalties, neighboring rights, free Spotify audit, see exactly where your Spotify profile is. Leaking growth. Independent artists miss an average of $800/year in unclaimed royalties. Get my free audit. Or browse campaign plans for how to register and claim these. See Sound Exchange Explained for 2026. Digital performance royalties, also called neighboring rights, are paid to the performers and master recording owners when a sound recording is played on non-interactive platforms. This includes internet radio, Pandora, iHeartRadio, non-interactive stations, satellite radio, Sirius XM, digital jukeboxes, cable music channels, non-interactive streaming, curated channels where listeners cannot choose specific songs. In the United States, Sound Exchange collects and distributes these royalties. Internationally, each country has its own neighboring rights collection society, PPL in the UK, GVL in Germany, SINA in the Netherlands. Who pays? The non-interactive platform pays a statutory license fee to Sound Exchange, in the US, which distributes 45% to the featured artist, 50% to the master owner, and 5% to a fund for session musicians. How much? Sound Exchange rates vary by platform. Pandora pays approximately $0.0017-$0.0025 per play. Sirius XM rates are lower. Total payouts depend on your play count across these platforms. What you need to do: register with Sound Exchange, free, as both the featured artist and the sound recording owner. If you are international, also register with your country's neighboring rights society. These royalties are separate from what your distributor collects. Your distributor handles interactive streaming, Spotify, Apple Music, while Sound Exchange handles non-interactive plays. Common mistake: thinking Sound Exchange and your pro do the same thing. They do not. Your pro collects performance royalties on the composition. Sound Exchange collects digital performance royalties on the sound recording. They cover different copyrights and different uses. You need both. Print royalties. Print royalties are the oldest form of music royalty, generated when your composition is reproduced in physical printed form, sheet music, songbooks, lyric books, and educational materials. For most independent artists, print royalties are a negligible income stream. However, if your music is used in educational settings, worship contexts, or has significant enough popularity that a publisher produces sheet music, these royalties can add up. Who pays? The sheet music publisher or print licensee pays a royalty to the songwriter, typically 10 to 15% of the retail price. What you need to do: if a publisher approaches you about printing sheet music, negotiate the print royalty rate. If you self-publish sheet music through your website or platforms like Music Notes, you keep the full margin. How streaming royalties actually break down: this is where it gets confusing for most artists, so let us trace a single Spotify stream through every royalty pathway. When someone streams your self-written, Self-released song on Spotify, the following royalties are generated: 1. Recording royalty, master side, sound recording. Spotify pays your distributor, who passes roughly $0.003 to $0.005 per stream to you, minus the distributor's fee. This is the number most artists think of as what Spotify pays and is the largest single component. US listeners average around $0.0039 per stream. 2. Mechanical royalty, composition side, songwriter share. Spotify pays the MLC, which distributes approximately $0.001 to $0.002 per stream to the registered songwriter/publisher. If you are not registered with the MLC, this money accumulates in an unmatched fund. 3. Performance royalty, composition side, songwriter share. Spotify pays your pro, ASCAP, BMI, etc., a blanket fee, which is distributed to registered songwriters based on streaming data. This works out to roughly $0.0008 to $0.0012 per stream. Adding these together, the total per stream payout for an independent artist who collects all three royalty types is roughly $0.005 to $0.008 per stream combined. That is meaningfully higher than the $0.003 to $0.005 that under-registered artists report receiving from their distributor alone. The difference is not that Spotify is paying more. The difference is that the fully registered artist is collecting money that the under-registered artist is leaving behind. For a deeper breakdown of streaming economics, see how much Spotify pays per stream and use the revenue calculator to model your specific numbers. The complete collection setup for independent artists here is exactly what you need to register for to collect every royalty type you are owed. Step 1, Distributor, DistroKid, TuneCore, CD Baby, AWAL, etc. Collects, recording royalties from interactive streaming and downloads. Cost, $20-$50/year or commission based. Step 2, Pro, ASCAP, BMI, CESIC, or international equivalent, collects, performance royalties from radio, TV, live, streaming. Cost, free, BMI for writers, or $50 one time, ASCAP. Important, register as both songwriter and publisher. Step 3, MLC, the Mechanical Licensing Collective, collects, mechanical royalties from US interactive streaming. Cost, free. Register at themlc.com. Step 4, Sound Exchange collects, digital performance royalties from non-interactive platforms. Cost, free. Register as both artist and sound recording owner. Step 5, Publishing Administrator, optional but recommended, collects, international mechanical and performance royalties that your Pro and MLC miss. Options, Song Trust, $100 setup plus 15% commission, TuneCore Publishing, 15% commission, CD Baby Pro, 15% commission. Step 6, Sync Licensing Platform, optional, collects, sync placement fees. Options, MusicBed, Artlist, Songtradr, or a dedicated sync agent. Registration collects cost time to register distributor recording royalties $20-50/year 15 minutes Pro, ASCAP/BMI, performance royalties $0 to $50 one time 30 minutes MLC US mechanical royalties free 15 minutes Sound Exchange digital performance, neighboring rights, free 20 minutes publishing admin international mechanicals plus performance 15% commission 30 minutes sync platform sync fees varies 1 to 2 hours total setup time, roughly 2 to 3 hours. Potential additional annual revenue, 30 to 40% more than distributor-only collection. Royalty timelines, when you actually get paid. One of the most frustrating aspects of the royalty system is the delay between when your music is played and when you receive payment. Distributor payments, 1 to 3 months after the stream occurs. Most distributors pay monthly with a 2-month delay, streams in January are paid in March. Pro payments, 6 to 9 months after the performance. Pros collect usage data, process it, and distribute quarterly. ASCAP and BMI typically pay performance royalties 6 to 9 months after the quarter in which the performance occurred. MLC payments, 3 to 6 months after the stream. The MLC collects monthly from platforms but distributes on a delayed schedule. Sound exchange payments, 3 to 6 months after the play. Similar delay to the MLC. Sync fees, negotiated and paid per placement, typically on signing of the license agreement or within 30 to 60 days. This means that if your song is streamed in January 2026, you might receive the recording royalty in March 2026, the mechanical royalty in June 2026, and the performance royalty in September 2026. All from the same stream. This is why consistent monthly streaming income, built through strategies outlined in the Spotify Growth Guide, creates a much more stable revenue base than viral spikes. Instant download $9 The Streaming Royalty Toolkit. Stop guessing what you earn. Country by country payout cheat sheet plus an earnings calculator that shows exactly how many streams turn into real money. Per country payout cheat sheet, Spotify, Apple, Tidal, Amazon. Earnings and break-even calculator, streams, dollars. Every royalty type explained on one page. Unclaimed royalties checklist, MLC Plus Pro setup, get it $9. Secure Shopify checkout instant PDF delivery recommended campaign 6,000 plus stream/month starter plan $149/mo turn your music into consistent revenue with 200 campaign streams hitting your profile daily. See plan details. Compare all plans verified in Spotify for artists geo-targeted cancel anytime international royalty collection if your music is streamed or performed outside the United States. Additional royalty collection channels exist. Many countries have neighboring rights organizations that pay both the performer and the master owner for any public use of the recording, not just non-interactive digital use. Key international collection societies, UK, PRS for music, Performance plus Mechanical, PPL, neighboring rights, Germany, GEMA, Performance plus Mechanical, GVL, neighboring rights, Canada, SOCAN, Performance, CMRA, Mechanical, Resound, neighboring rights, Australia, Opera AMCOs, Performance plus Mechanical, PPCA, neighboring rights, France, SACM, Performance plus Mechanical, SCPP/SPPF, neighboring rights, if a significant portion of your streaming comes from international markets, and if you are running geo-targeted campaigns or have natural international audiences, registering with a publishing administrator that covers international territories is essential. Without it, your international mechanical and performance royalties go uncollected. Based on analysis of 2,400 plus campaigns, artists with international streaming activity across 3 or more countries who register with a publishing administrator typically recover an additional 8 to 15% in royalties that would otherwise go uncollected. The gap is especially wide in Germany, the UK, and the Netherlands, where neighboring rights systems are well funded. How streaming growth multiplies your royalty income. The relationship between streaming growth and total royalty income is not linear, it is multiplicative. Here is why: as your streaming numbers grow, you become eligible for editorial playlists, which drive higher quality streams in higher paying markets. Higher stream counts also attract sync supervisors, radio programmers, and playlist curators, each of which generates additional royalty types beyond the base streaming payment. An artist generating 50,000 streams per month who is fully registered across all collection channels might earn $175-$250/month from distributor, recording royalties, $50-$75/month from pro, performance royalties, delayed, $40-$60/month from MLC, mechanical royalties, delayed, $15-$25/month from sound exchange, if getting non-interactive plays, total, $280-$410/month. The same artist collecting only through their distributor earns $175-$250/month, missing $100 to $160 per month, or $1,200 to $1,920 per year. As streaming numbers scale, these gaps widen proportionally. Artists who want to grow their streaming base strategically can explore Chartlex promotion plans to build sustainable, algorithm-friendly listener growth that compounds across all royalty channels. For a practical analysis of how streaming revenue works in practice, the Spotify payment breakdown provides current per-stream rates, and the revenue calculator lets you model your projected income across all collection channels. Tracking your royalty health. Most artists set up their collection registrations once and never revisit them. But royalty collection is not a set and forget system. Song metadata changes, co-writer disputes arise, and new platforms launch with different licensing structures. Run a quarterly check on your royalty health, verify your pro account shows all registered works with correct splits, confirm the MLC has matched your catalog to incoming streaming data, check Sound Exchange for any unmatched recordings, review your distributor statements against pro and MLC statements to spot gaps, file set lists for any live performances in the past quarter. A free Spotify audit can also reveal whether your profile metadata, release strategy, and streaming patterns are optimized to feed all of these royalty pipelines. You can also use the Spotify Insights tool to check your artist profile health and identify growth opportunities that directly increase your total royalty collection. Frequently asked questions: do I need to register with a pro if my distributor already collects royalties? Yes. Your distributor collects recording royalties on the master side. Your pro collects performance royalties on the composition side. These are two completely different revenue streams from two different copyrights. Not registering with a pro means you are missing roughly 15 to 25% of your total potential streaming income, plus all radio, TV, and live performance royalties. Can I register with multiple pros at once? No. In the US, you can only be a member of one pro at a time. You choose ASCAP, BMI, or SESIC. SESIC is invite only. Internationally, you register with the pro in your country of residence. Your domestic pro has reciprocal agreements with foreign pros to collect your royalties worldwide. See the full pro comparison guide for help choosing. What happens to royalties I did not collect in the past? Uncollected performance royalties typically remain with your pro for 3 to 4 years before being redistributed to other members. Uncollected MLC mechanical royalties are held for a period and then distributed based on market share. Sound Exchange holds uncollected royalties for approximately 3 years. The sooner you register, the more back royalties you can recover. Some organizations will pay retroactively for the period since they began collecting on your behalf. Are royalties different for co-written songs? Yes. If you co-wrote a song, the royalties on the composition side are split according to whatever agreement you made with your co-writers, ideally documented in a split sheet. Each co-writer registers their share with their own pro and collection agencies. The recording royalties on the master side are split according to the master ownership agreement, which may differ from the songwriter split. Start collecting what you are owed. Setting up complete royalty collection takes about 2 to 3 hours and costs little or nothing. The return on that time investment compounds for the rest of your career. Every song you have ever released is generating royalties right now. The only question is whether those royalties are reaching your bank account or sitting unclaimed in a database. Start today, register with your pro, create your MLC account, sign up for Sound Exchange, and verify that your distributor is correctly handling your recording royalties. If you want to maximize the streaming volume feeding all of these royalty channels, run a free Spotify audit to see where your profile stands and what growth is realistic for your catalog. On this page, why most independent artists leave money on the table. The two copyrights in every song, mechanical vs performance vs sound recording, the distinction that trips everyone up: performance royalties, mechanical royalties, sync royalties, digital performance royalties, neighboring rights, Print royalties. How streaming royalties actually break down. The complete collection setup for independent artists. Royalty timelines, when you actually get paid. International royalty collection free. Resource revenue maximizer guide. Discover the 7 revenue streams most independent artists miss, plus exact steps to claim uncollected. You're at email.com. Get it free weekly playbook. 1 actionable insight, every Tuesday. Join 5,000 plus independent artists getting algorithm updates, marketing tactics, and growth strategies. You're at email.com. Subscribe free, no spam. Unsubscribe anytime. Free audit, no card required. How much streaming revenue are you leaving on the table? Independent artists miss an average of $800/year in unclaimed royalties. The free audit shows your current royalty footprint, missing registrations, and which platforms are underperforming relative to your catalog size. Find my revenue gaps. Explore revenue tools. 5,000 plus artists audited. Takes 2 minutes. No credit card required. Already a customer? Open dashboard. Campaign dashboard. Turn knowledge into action. Track your streams, monitor algorithmic triggers, and see growth projections in real time. The campaign dashboard puts everything you just read into practice. See campaign dashboard. View pricing. 2,400 plus artists tracking their growth with Chartlex. About the publisher. About Chartlex. Chartlex is a music promotion company founded in 2023 that has delivered over 21 M plus verified Spotify streams for independent artists. We analyze campaign data across 2,400 plus artist promotion campaigns, publish 250 plus music industry research guides, and run 100 plus daily artist audits across Spotify and YouTube. Our coverage spans Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Bandcamp, Meta Ads, sync licensing, and royalty administration in 5 languages. Founded 2023, 3 years. Verified streams delivered 21 M plus. 4 indie artists campaigns analyzed. 2,400 plus proprietary dataset research guides. 250 plus published daily artist audits. 100 plus Spotify plus YouTube platform coverage. Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Bandcamp, Meta Ads, TikTok, sync licensing, royalty administration. About Chartlex. Get a free artist audit. Browse 250 plus research guides. Methodology. Chartlex Research combines proprietary campaign performance data with public industry sources including IFPI Global Music Report, MIDA Research, Luminate Year-End, RIA, and Music Business Worldwide. All findings are refreshed quarterly. Last verified, August 23, 2026. Keep reading. Money. 15 minutes read. Mechanical royalties explained for musicians, 2026. Mechanical royalties explained, the statutory rate, streaming mechanicals, MLC registration, and how to collect every dollar owed to songwriters in 2026. Daniel Brew. Sound Exchange explained, what the $13 billion royalty collector pays for, the 45/50/5 split, free registration steps, and the 3-year window to claim back pay. Daniel Brooks. Money. 20 minutes read. Performance royalties, how to collect every dollar in 2026. Learn how performance royalties work and how to collect every dollar owed to you in 2026. Pro comparison, Sound Exchange, neighboring rights, and more. Daniel Brooks. Mechanical royalties explained for musicians, 2026. Mechanical royalties explained, the statutory rate, streaming mechanicals, MLC registration, and how to collect every dollar owed to songwriters in 2026. DB. Daniel Brooks. March 8, 2026, updated April 27, 2026, 15 minutes read. Reviewed by the Chartlex editorial team. Editorial policy. Quick answer. Mechanical royalties are payments owed to songwriters and publishers every time a song is reproduced, whether through a stream, download, or physical copy. The current U.S. statutory rate is 13.1 cents, $0.131, per song for physical and download reproductions, locked in for 2026 under the Copyright Royalty Board's Phonorecords 4 ruling. Based on analysis of 2,400 plus Chartlex campaigns, streaming mechanical rates typically fall between $0.001 and $0.002 per stream on major platforms. That is the songwriter share, separate from the master recording royalty. The Mechanical Licensing Collective, MLC, handles blanket licensing for streaming in the US, and registration is free. Last verified, May 3, 2026. Refresh cadence, quarterly. Chartlex finding, according to Chartlex, a music promotion company founded in 2018 that has delivered 21M plus verified Spotify streams for independent artists, analyzed 2,400 plus campaigns, published 250 plus music industry research guides, and runs 100 plus artist audits daily across Spotify and YouTube. Streaming mechanical rates typically fall between $0.001 and $0.002 per stream on major platforms. What are mechanical royalties and why should you care? Here is the honest math that most artists miss: every single time your song is reproduced in any format, someone owes you money. That payment is called a mechanical royalty. The term mechanical dates back to the early 1900s when music was literally pressed onto mechanical devices, piano rolls, vinyl records, and later CDs. The name stuck, even though most reproductions today happen digitally through streaming platforms and downloads. What most artists don't realize is that mechanical royalties are completely separate from performance royalties. When your song plays on Spotify, two distinct royalty payments are generated simultaneously: a performance royalty, paid to the songwriter for the public performance of the composition; a mechanical royalty, paid to the songwriter for the reproduction of the composition. If you're only registered with a pro like ASCAP or BMI, you're collecting performance royalties but potentially leaving mechanical royalties on the table. That is money sitting unclaimed, and the amounts add up faster than you might expect. For independent artists releasing music through distributors like DistroKid, TuneCore, or CD Baby, understanding mechanical royalties is not optional, it is a core part of getting paid what you are actually owed. If you want to see how distributors compare on features and fees, our DistroKid vs TuneCore vs CD Baby comparison breaks it down. The statutory mechanical royalty rate, 13.1 cents per song, 2026, in the United States. Mechanical royalty rates for physical reproductions and permanent digital downloads are set by the Copyright Royalty Board, CRB, not by negotiation. This is called the statutory rate. As of January 1, 2026, the statutory mechanical rate breaks down like this: format rate per song: notes physical, CD, vinyl, $0.131; songs 5 minutes or under physical, long songs, $0.0252 per minute; songs over 5 minutes, permanent downloads, iTunes, etc., $0.131. Same as physical ringtones, 24 cents per ringtone sold. Interactive streaming percentage-based formula covered below. For a standard 10-track album sold as a CD or download, the mechanical royalties alone would be $1.31 per unit sold. If you sell 1,000 copies, that is $1,310 in mechanical royalties before you count any other revenue stream. Phonorecords for rate progression: the CRB sets these rates in multi-year rulings called phonorecords hearings. The current ruling, Phonorecords 4, covers 2023 through 2027 with annual increases. Year rate per song: rate per minute, over 5 minutes, 2023 12.0 cents 2 colones and 31 centavos; 2024 12.4 cents 2 colones and 39 centavos; 2025 12.7 cents 2 colones and 45 centavos; 2026 13.1 cents 2 colones and 52 centavos; 2027 TBD. Final Phonorecords for year: if you have seen older guides citing 9 colones and 17 centavos per song, that is the pre-2023 rate and is no longer in force. Any post still using $0.0917 is stale. Sources: CRB official announcements, Royalty Solutions Corp. 2026 rate filing, Music Tech Policy coverage of the December 2025 ruling. Streaming mechanical royalties: How the math actually works. Streaming mechanicals are where things get complicated, and where the most money gets lost for independent musicians. Unlike physical and download mechanicals, streaming platforms don't pay a fixed per play rate. Instead, the streaming mechanical royalty is calculated using a formula that considers total revenue the platform generates, subscriptions plus ad revenue, total content costs, what the platform pays out overall, a percentage allocation between mechanical and performance royalties, your song's share of total plays on the platform. The result is a blended rate that fluctuates month to month. The $0.003-$0.005 figure you sometimes see in older guides is the total streaming royalty, artist master plus songwriter share combined, not the mechanical portion alone. Based on royalty data analyzed across 2,400 plus Chartlex campaigns, the mechanical-only share for US plays on Spotify typically lands between $0.001 and $0.002 per stream. Apple Music mechanical rates tend to run slightly higher. Here is a practical example: if your song gets 100,000 streams on Spotify in a month, the mechanical royalty portion might look like 100,000 streams times $0.0015. Average mechanical rate equals $150 in mechanical royalties. That $150 is separate from the performance royalty your pro collects, and separate from the master recording royalty your distributor pays. 3 different payments from the same 100,000 streams. The artist master royalty alone for those 100,000 US streams would be roughly $390, $0.0039 times 100,000. Want to see how these numbers stack up for your own catalog? The Chartlex revenue calculator lets you plug in your actual stream counts and see projected earnings across all royalty types. Mechanical versus performance royalties, the complete comparison. This is where confusion runs deepest, so let me break it down clearly. Every recorded song has 2 copyrights, the composition, melody and lyrics, and the master recording, the actual audio file. Mechanical and performance royalties both come from the composition side, but they are triggered by different actions. Feature mechanical royalties, performance royalties triggered by reproduction, copy made, public performance, heard by audience, physical sales. Yes, $0.131 per song, 2026, no downloads. Yes, $0.131 per song, 2026. No interactive streaming. Yes, formula-based. Yes, formula-based radio airplay. No. Yes, live performance. No. Yes, collected by US MLC, Harry Fox Agency, publisher, or self-ASCAP, BMI, SESIC, or GMR. Registration needed. MLC plus publisher/admin pro membership paid to songwriter and/or publisher. Songwriter and/or publisher. The critical takeaway: for streaming, both royalty types are generated simultaneously. If you are only registered with a pro, you are collecting roughly half of what your compositions earn from streaming. For a deeper breakdown of every royalty type musicians should track, read our full guide on every type of music royalty and how they work. How to register and collect your mechanical royalties. Free Spotify audit. See exactly where your Spotify profile is leaking growth. Independent artists miss an average of $800/year in unclaimed royalties. Get my free audit. Or browse campaign plans. Registration is the step most independent artists skip, and it is the single biggest reason mechanical royalties go uncollected. Here is the registration path, laid out step by step. Step 1, register with the Mechanical Licensing Collective, MLC. The MLC was created by the Music Modernization Act of 2018 and began operations in January 2021. It handles the blanket mechanical license for all interactive streaming services operating in the US. Registration is free at themlc.com. You will need your legal name or entity name, IPI/CAE number, from your pro, if you have one, ISRC codes for your recordings, your song metadata, title, writers, publishers, ownership splits. Once registered, The MLC matches your works to streaming data and pays you directly for US mechanical royalties from platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Tidal, and others. Step 2. Register your songs, not just your account. Creating an MLC account is not enough. You must also register each individual work, every song you have written or co-written. The MLC portal lets you enter works manually or upload them in bulk via spreadsheet. For each work, you need to provide song title and alternate titles, all songwriters and their ownership percentages, ISWC code, if available, associated sound recording, ISRC's release date. Step 3. Consider a publishing administrator if the registration process feels overwhelming, or if you have a large catalog, a publishing administrator can handle it for you. Services like Songtrust, TuneCore Publishing, and CD Baby Pro register your songs with the MLC, collection societies worldwide, and sub-publishers in foreign territories. They typically charge either a small annual fee or take 10 to 20% of your publishing income. For catalogs generating meaningful revenue, the math usually works in your favor because they catch royalties you would otherwise miss, especially internationally. Step 4. Register with a pro, if you have not already. While your pro, ASCAP, BMI, SESIC, or GMR, handles performance royalties, not mechanicals, having your pro registration in order ensures your IPI number is active and your catalog metadata is consistent across databases. If you have not registered with a pro yet, our guide on how to register with ASCAP, BMI, or SESIC walks through the entire process. International mechanical royalties, money left on the table here is something that catches many US-based artists off guard. The MLC only covers mechanical royalties for streams that occur within the United States. Every other country has its own collection system. Some key international mechanical royalty organizations, country/region collection society notes United Kingdom MCPs, via PRS for music, combined with performance royalties Canada CMR/SODRAC 2 societies. Territory-based Germany GEMA handles both mechanical and performance. France SACM Combined Society Australia AMCOs, via Opera AMCOs, combined with performance. Japan JAZRAC handles all composition royalties if your music is being streamed internationally, and with platforms being global. It almost certainly is. You need coverage in these territories. Most independent artists accomplish this through a publishing administrator with sub-publishing agreements worldwide. Direct registration with foreign societies, complex, time-consuming. Their distributors' publishing arm, if offered, for artists running Chartlex campaigns targeting multiple markets, international mechanical collection becomes especially relevant. Promotion that drives streams across Germany, the UK, and the Netherlands generates mechanical royalties in each of those territories. Understanding music publishing as an independent artist is essential to making sure those international royalties actually reach your bank account. If you need help choosing an admin publisher to handle global collection, our comparison of music publishing administration services covers the major options. Common mistakes that cost musicians mechanical royalties after working with thousands of independent artists. These are the mistakes I see most frequently, and every single one of them is preventable. Mistake 1, assuming your distributor handles everything. Your distributor, DistroKid, TuneCore, CD Baby, etc., collects your master recording royalties, the payment for the sound recording itself. They do not collect your mechanical royalties as a songwriter unless you have specifically opted into their publishing administration service. This is the most expensive misunderstanding in independent music. If you wrote the song and only use a distributor, the mechanical royalty portion of your streaming income may be going uncollected or sitting in the MLC's unmatched royalties pool. Mistake 2, not registering co-written songs. If you co-wrote a song with another artist, both writers need to register their respective shares with the MLC. If your co-writer registered but you did not, their share gets paid out while yours accumulates in the unmatched pool. Always agree on splits in writing before release, and make sure every writer registers independently. Mistake 3, Inconsistent metadata. The MLC matches songs to streams using metadata, song titles, writer names, ISRC codes, and ISWC codes. If the metadata on your MLC registration does not match what your distributor submitted to streaming platforms, the system cannot make the match. Double check that your legal name is spelled identically everywhere. Song titles match exactly, including punctuation. ISRC codes are correct. Writer splits add up to 100%. Instant download $9. The streaming royalty toolkit. Stop guessing what you earn. Country by country payout cheat sheet plus an earnings calculator that shows exactly how many streams turn into real money. Per country payout cheat sheet: Spotify, Apple, Tidal, Amazon. Earnings and break-even calculator: streams, dollars. Every royalty type explained on one page. Unclaimed royalties checklist: MLC Plus Pro setup, get it $9. Secure Shopify checkout. Instant PDF delivery. Recommended campaign 6,000 plus stream/month. Starter plan $149/mo. Turn your music into consistent revenue with 200 campaign streams hitting your profile daily. See plan details. Compare all plans verified in Spotify for artists. Geo-targeted. Cancel anytime. Mistake 4, ignoring international collection. As covered above, the MLC only handles US mechanical royalties. If 30 to 40% of your streams come from outside the US, which is common for artists with international promotion campaigns, you could be missing a significant chunk of mechanical income. Mistake 5, not auditing your statements. Royalty accounting is not perfect. Streams get miscounted, metadata mismatches cause missed payments, and rate calculations occasionally contain errors. Review your MLC and publisher statements quarterly. Compare the stream counts against your distributor analytics. If the numbers diverge significantly, investigate. How mechanical royalties fit into your total revenue picture. Let me put the full picture together so you can see where mechanical royalties sit in your overall music income. For a song generating 500,000 streams per month on Spotify, the approximate revenue breakdown looks like this. Revenue source: estimated monthly amount. Who pays master recording royalty $1,500 to $2,000. Distributor: from Spotify, performance royalty, songwriter, $300 to $600. Your pro mechanical royalty, songwriter, $1,500 to $2,500. MLC or publisher total $3,300 to $5,100. What most artists don't realize is that mechanical royalties from streaming can actually be the largest single component of songwriter income. The statutory rates set by the CRB have been increasing, and for many independent artists who both write and perform their music, the mechanical share represents serious money. To model these numbers against your own stream counts and see where your biggest growth opportunities are, try the chart Lex Spotify Royalty Calculator. It breaks down earnings by royalty type. For a complete overview of per stream rates across countries, our guide on how much Spotify pays per stream in 2026 covers the full picture. If you are actively promoting your music and driving streams through campaigns, understanding mechanical royalties changes how you evaluate ROI. A campaign that generates 50,000 additional streams is not just earning you master royalties through your distributor, it is also generating performance and mechanical royalties on top of that. The true per stream value is higher than most artists calculate because they only count one royalty stream. Check out our campaign plans to see how promotion-driven streams translate into compounding royalty income across all collection channels. Frequently asked questions about mechanical royalties: do I earn mechanical royalties if I only perform covers? If you record and distribute a cover song, the original songwriter earns the mechanical royalty, not you. You need a mechanical license, obtainable through services like Easy Song Licensing or Songfile by HFA, to legally distribute covers, and the statutory rate applies. You earn the master recording royalty as the performing artist, but the composition royalties go to the original writer. How long does it take to receive mechanical royalties from the MLC? The MLC typically pays on a monthly basis, but there is a processing delay of 2 to 4 months between when streams occur and when payments are issued. Your first payment after registering may take longer as the MLC matches your works to existing streaming data. Retroactive payments for previously unmatched royalties can also take several months to process. Can I collect mechanical royalties without a publisher? Yes. Independent songwriters can register directly with the MLC and collect their own mechanical royalties at no cost. You do not need a publisher for US streaming mechanicals. However, for international collection and for physical/download mechanicals, a publishing administrator significantly simplifies the process and typically catches royalties you would miss on your own. What happens to unclaimed mechanical royalties? Under the MLC's current system, unmatched royalties, those that cannot be linked to a registered songwriter, are held for a period and then distributed proportionally to registered rights holders based on their market share. This means if your songs are not registered, your mechanical royalties may eventually be paid out to other songwriters. Registration is the only way to prevent this. Start collecting what you are owed. Mechanical royalties are not bonus income, they are money you have already earned that is waiting to be claimed. The registration process through the MLC takes about 30 minutes, costs nothing, and can immediately start directing payments your way. Here is your action plan. Register with the MLC at themlc.com, free, 30 minutes, register every song you have written or co-written, verify your metadata matches across your distributor, Pro, and MLC registrations. Consider a publishing admin for international collection. Audit your statements quarterly to catch discrepancies. Every stream your music generates produces multiple royalty payments. Making sure you are registered to collect all of them is the difference between leaving money on the table and building a sustainable music career. If you are ready to grow your streaming numbers and maximize royalty income across every channel, explore Chartlex campaign plans built for independent artists at every stage. Sound Exchange Explained, 2026 Register Plus Claim Royalties. Sound Exchange explained what the $13 billion royalty collector pays for, the 45/50/5 split, free registration steps, and the 3-year window to claim back pay. Quick answer: Sound Exchange is the U.S. nonprofit that collects and pays statutory digital performance royalties for sound recordings played on non-interactive services, webcast radio, Sirius XM satellite radio, Pandora's radio tiers, and cable TV music channels. It has distributed more than $13 billion to over 850,000 music creators since 2003, including $991.5 million in 2025 alone. Every payment splits 3 ways by law: 45% to the featured artist, 50% to the sound recording owner, and 5% to session musicians through the AFM and SAG-AFTRA fund, which means a self-released artist who owns their masters collects 95% of the total. Sound Exchange does not cover on-demand streams from Spotify or Apple Music, and no pro, distributor, or publisher collects this money for you by default. Registration is free at soundexchange.com, back royalties are claimable for roughly 3 years, and unclaimed money can be released after that window closes. According to Chartlex campaign data from 2,400 plus campaigns, most independent artists running active promotion have never registered. What Sound Exchange actually is: Sound Exchange is the collective management organization designated under U.S. law to administer the statutory license for digital performances of sound recordings. In plain language, when certain digital radio services play your recording, federal law says they owe royalties, and Sound Exchange is the single organization that collects those royalties and pays the people behind the recording. The organization spun out of the RIA and became independent in 2003. Since then it has distributed more than $13 billion, crossing that milestone in March 2026, on behalf of more than 850,000 creators. Annual distributions ran $1.05 billion in 2024 and $991.5 million in 2025. The key distinction from every other royalty organization: Sound Exchange pays for the sound recording, the master, not the composition, the song. Your pro pays songwriters. The MLC pays songwriters. Sound Exchange pays performers and master owners, which for a self-released independent artist is the same person wearing two hats. That distinction is also why this money falls through the cracks. Artists assume their distributor or their pro already collects it. Neither does. This is a separate pipe, it requires a separate free registration, and money that goes unclaimed long enough can legally be released to other payees. What Sound Exchange pays for, and what it does not. Sound Exchange covers non-interactive digital audio services where the listener cannot pick the exact track on demand. The statutory license only applies when the service works like radio. Service type examples does Sound Exchange collect? Satellite radio Sirius XM, Yes Webcast / Internet radio Pandora radio tiers, iHeart radio streams, Live 365, station simulcasts Yes Cable TV music channels Music Choice, Stingray Yes Broadcast radio simulcast online and FM stations Web stream Yes On Demand streaming Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Tidal, Amazon Music On Demand No, paid via your distributor AM/FM terrestrial broadcast over the air radio No, US law pays no sound recording royalty here downloads and physical iTunes downloads. Vinyl, CDs No, paid via distributor or direct sales. The rates are set by the Copyright Royalty Board, a panel of federal judges, and they are rising. Under the Web 6 rates covering 2026 through 2030, commercial broadcasters pay $0.0028 per performance in 2026, one listener hearing one song, climbing to $0.0032 by 2030. Individually tiny, these add up. A recording spinning across thousands of webcast listeners generates real quarterly money, and Sirius XM alone is a major share of the pool. The common objection is I am not on the radio, so this is not for me. Check the assumption. Pandora radio play, station simulcasts, and cable music channels pull from enormous catalogs, and algorithmic radio programming reaches far deeper than terrestrial playlists ever did. Artists with modest Spotify numbers regularly find four-figure balances waiting, especially when a track picked up radio-style play they never knew about. The 45/50/5 split explains stacked bar of the Sound Exchange statutory split, 45% to the featured artist, 50% to the rights owner, 5% to the session musicians fund, with the note that self-released artists collect both the 45% and the 50%. Federal law fixes the payment split on every dollar Sound Exchange distributes. No contract, manager, or label deal changes how Sound Exchange itself pays these shares out. Share who gets it how it is paid. 45% featured artist, the named performer on the recording, directly to the artist, even if signed to a label. 50% sound recording copyright owner, label, or you if self-released, to the rights owner account. 5% non-featured performers, session musicians, backing vocalists, through the AFM and SAG-AFTRA Intellectual Property Rights Distribution Fund. 2 practical consequences for independent artists. First, if you release your own music and own your masters, you register in both roles, featured artist and rights owner, and collect 95% of every dollar your recordings generate. Second, if you are signed, the 45% featured artist share is paid to you directly by law and cannot be absorbed into label recoupment. Signed artists who never register are donating that share to the unclaimed pool. Session players do not register with Sound Exchange for the 5%, that share flows through the AFM and SAG-AFTRA fund, which runs its own claims process. Sound Exchange vs Pro vs MLC vs Distributor Collection Map Table. Sound Exchange covers Sirius XM, Pandora Radio and webcasts with free registration. Pros cover radio, venues, and TV for the composition. The MLC covers US streaming mechanicals. Distributors pay on-demand recording royalties, over $13 billion distributed lifetime. The four-pipe problem is the single biggest source of missed royalties for independent artists. Each organization pays for a different right, from different sources, and none of them overlaps another's job. Entity: what it pays for money. Source: who gets paid. Sound exchange: digital performance of the recording. Sirius XM, webcast radio, Pandora radio, cable music channels. Featured artist, 45%, plus master owner, 50%. ASCAP/BMI/CESIC, Pro, public performance of the composition. Radio, TV, venues, streaming services. Songwriter plus publisher: the MLC. US digital mechanical for the composition. Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, YouTube, US streams, songwriter plus publisher. Distributor, DistroKid, TuneCore, etc. On-demand streams and downloads of the recording. Spotify, Apple Music, and other DSPs. Master owner: a self-released artist who writes their own songs. Needs all 4 registrations to collect everything. A pro for performance royalties, covered in our guide to collecting performance royalties in 2026, the MLC for US mechanicals, walkthrough in our MLC unclaimed royalties claim guide, a distributor for on-demand streaming, and sound exchange for digital radio. Each registration is free except the modest one-time pro fees. Free Spotify audit: see exactly where your Spotify profile is leaking. Growth: independent artists miss an average of $800/year in unclaimed royalties. Get my free audit. Or browse campaign plans for the full map of every royalty type and who owes it. Our Music Royalties Explained Guide is the umbrella reference. This article owns one pipe, the Sound Exchange one. How to register with Sound Exchange: step-by-step registration is free, fully online at soundexchange.com, and takes 20 to 40 minutes with your catalog information ready. Beware of third parties charging to register you. The official process costs nothing. Step 1. Search the unclaimed royalties database. First, Sound Exchange maintains a public search of artists and rights owners with accrued but unclaimed royalties. Search your artist name and any band names before creating an account. A hit confirms money is already waiting and is worth noting during sign up. Step 2. Pick your account roles. Self-released artists who own their masters need both roles on one account: featured artist, the 45% share, and rights owner, the 50% share. Signed artists register as featured artist only, since the label claims the rights owner share. Registering only one role when you qualify for both is the most common setup mistake, and it silently halves your payments. Step 3. Create the account and verify identity. Provide legal name, artist name, and identity details. Sound Exchange verifies claims before paying, so expect the account to take days to a few weeks to fully activate. You will attach tax information, W-9 for U.S. persons, and a payment method for direct deposit. Step 4. Build your repertoire list. Submit your catalog, track titles, album, release dates, and ISRCs for every recording. The ISRC, the code your distributor assigned each track, is the identifier Sound Exchange matches against service play logs, so complete ISRC data is what drives match rates. Bulk upload via spreadsheet is available for larger catalogs. Step 5. Claim existing plays during repertoire setup. Sound Exchange surfaces recordings from its play logs that appear to match yours. Claim them. This is where the retroactive money is, and it is the step that turns registration from paperwork into a payout. Step 6. Watch the quarterly schedule. Sound Exchange distributes quarterly for accounts over the minimum payment threshold. First payments typically arrive 1 to 2 quarters after activation, with retroactive matches landing as catch-up payments as they clear. The 3-year window, why waiting costs real money. Sound Exchange holds unmatched and unclaimed royalties for approximately 3 years. After that, regulation authorizes releasing older unclaimed funds, which in practice redistributes them to other payees. Money you do not claim does not wait for you forever. The math of delay is simple. Register today and you can generally reach back about 3 years of accrued plays. Register 2 years from now and the oldest of those plays has already aged out. Every quarter of delay is a quarter of your oldest royalties permanently converting to someone else's distribution. This is the same pattern we flagged with the MLC's black box pool, the system holds the money for a while, then it stops being yours. If you released music more than a year ago and have never registered, treat this as time sensitive. If you want to check whether your broader royalty setup is leaking beyond Sound Exchange, our Royalty Audit Guide for Musicians walks the full checklist. International collections and reciprocal agreements. Digital radio royalties are not a us-only phenomenon. Most countries pay neighboring rights, the international cousin of the U.S. digital performance right, for broadcast and public performance of recordings, and Sound Exchange collects abroad through reciprocal agreements with foreign collective management organizations. The reach is now substantial. As of February 2026, Sound Exchange holds more than 90 CMO agreements after adding 17 new territories including Denmark, Portugal, Kenya, and Barbados, and states its coverage exceeds 91% of the available global neighboring rights market. A May 2026 reciprocal deal with Argentina's CAPIF extended performer collections into South America's key markets. Practical takeaway: a single free Sound Exchange registration puts you in position to receive foreign digital radio and neighboring rights money routed through these agreements, without joining dozens of foreign societies yourself. Artists with substantial international airplay sometimes layer a dedicated neighboring rights agency on top, but for most independent catalogs the Sound Exchange mandate is the sensible default. The letter of direction: paying producers their cut. Producers, mixers, and engineers frequently negotiate points on a recording, but Sound Exchange only pays registered featured artists and rights owners. The letter of direction, LOD, is the fix, a form the featured artist files instructing Sound Exchange to pay a percentage of their 45% share directly to a producer or other participant. The LOD keeps everyone honest and automatic. Instead of the artist receiving the full share and owing the producer manual payments, Sound Exchange splits at the source every quarter. If you produced tracks for other artists, getting LODs filed by those artists is how you collect. If you are an artist who promised points, filing the LOD is how you keep the promise without lifetime bookkeeping. The form is free and available in the Sound Exchange account portal. Making the pipe worth more: registration is the plumbing, play volume is the water. Digital performance royalties scale with how often non-interactive services spin your recordings, and those services key off the same popularity and engagement signals that drive on-demand streaming. Recommended campaign 6,000 plus stream/month starter plan $149/mo. Turn your music into consistent revenue with 200 campaign streams hitting your profile daily. See plan details. Compare all plans verified in Spotify for artists geo-targeted. Cancel anytime. That makes this a compounding play. Growth in streaming activity feeds algorithmic radio programming, which feeds the Sound Exchange pool your registration now captures. According to Chartlex campaign data from 2,400 plus campaigns, the artists with the healthiest royalty income are consistently the ones collecting from every pipe at once rather than optimizing a single platform. To see what your current streams are worth across the recording side, run your numbers through the Spotify royalty calculator, and if you want the full income picture across streaming, radio, merch, and shows, the multi-stream revenue calculator breaks it down by source. Artists ready to grow the input side of the equation can compare Chartlex campaign plans by stream volume and budget. Frequently asked questions: what is Sound Exchange in simple terms? Sound Exchange is the U.S. nonprofit that collects legally mandated royalties when your recordings play on digital radio services like SiriusXM, Pandora's radio tiers, webcast stations, and cable music channels, then pays 45% to the featured artist, 50% to the master owner, and 5% to session musicians. It has distributed more than $13 billion since 2003. Does Sound Exchange collect Spotify royalties? No. On-demand streams from Spotify, Apple Music, and similar services are paid through your distributor, not Sound Exchange. Sound Exchange only covers non-interactive services where listeners cannot choose the exact track, such as satellite radio, internet radio, and cable TV music channels. You need both pipes registered to collect both royalty types. Is Sound Exchange registration free? Yes, completely. Registration, repertoire submission, claims, and quarterly payments carry zero fees, because Sound Exchange is funded by an administrative rate on collections. Any third party charging an upfront fee to register you is unnecessary. The only thing registration costs is 20 to 40 minutes at soundexchange.com with your ISRCs ready. How far back can I claim Sound Exchange royalties? Roughly 3 years. Sound Exchange holds accrued royalties for approximately 3 years, after which regulation permits releasing unclaimed funds to other payees. Registering today typically triggers back payments for matched plays within that window, but older accruals age out permanently, so delay has a direct and irreversible cost. Do I need Sound Exchange if I already have ASCAP or BMI? Yes. Your pro pays songwriters for performances of the composition. Sound Exchange pays performers and master owners for digital performances of the recording, a legally separate royalty from a separate pool. A self-released songwriter artist needs a pro, the MLC, a distributor, and Sound Exchange to collect all 4 royalty streams. How much does Sound Exchange pay per play? Under CRB Web 6 rates, commercial webcasters pay $0.0028 per performance in 2026, meaning one listener hearing one song, with rates rising to $0.0032 by 2030. Satellite radio and cable channels pay under separate revenue-based rates. Per play amounts are small, but aggregated radio-style play across services produces meaningful quarterly payments. What is a letter of direction with Sound Exchange? A letter of direction is a free form of featured artist files telling Sound Exchange to pay part of their 45% share directly to a producer, mixer, or other participant every quarter. It automates negotiated producer points at the source, so nobody has to trust manual payments over the life of the recording. Claim the pipe before it drains. Sound Exchange is the simplest fix in independent music, a free registration that captures a legally mandated royalty stream your distributor and pro will never touch, with roughly 3 years of back pay on the table and a 95% share for self-released artists. The organizations crossed $13 billion distributed in 2026, and the artists missing out are overwhelmingly the ones who never filed. As algorithmic radio and international neighboring rights coverage keep expanding, the share of artist income flowing through this pipe grows every year. Register this week, then make sure the rest of your royalty setup is not leaking either. A free Chartlex audit shows where your streams and listeners actually come from, so you know exactly which royalty pipes your catalog is feeding. On this page, what Sound Exchange actually is, what Sound Exchange pays for, and what it does not. The 45/50/5 split explains Sound Exchange vs Pro vs MLC vs Distributor, how to register with Sound Exchange, step by step, the 3-year window, why waiting costs real money, international collections and reciprocal agreements, the letter of direction, paying producers their cut, making the pipe worth more, frequently asked questions, claim the pipe before it drains, free resource revenue maximizer guide. Discover the 7 revenue streams most independent artists miss, plus exact steps to claim uncollected. You're at email.com. Get it free weekly playbook, 1 actionable insight, every Tuesday. Join 5,000 plus independent artists getting algorithm updates, marketing tactics, and growth strategies. You're at email.com. Subscribe free, no spam. Unsubscribe anytime. Free audit, no card required. How much streaming revenue are you leaving on the table? Independent artists miss an average of $800/year in unclaimed royalties. The free audit shows your current royalty footprint, missing registrations, and which platforms are underperforming relative to your catalog size. Find my revenue gaps. Explore revenue tools. 5,000 plus artists audited takes 2 minutes. No credit card required. Already a customer? Open dashboard. Campaign dashboard. Turn knowledge into action. Track your streams, monitor algorithmic triggers, and see growth projections in real time. The campaign dashboard puts everything you just read into practice. See campaign dashboard view pricing 2,400 plus artists tracking their growth with Chartlex. About the publisher. About Chartlex. Chartlex is a music promotion company founded in 2023 that has delivered over 21 plus verified Spotify streams for independent artists. We analyze campaign data across 2,400 plus artist promotion campaigns, publish 250 plus music industry research guides, and run 100 plus daily artist audits across Spotify and YouTube. Our coverage spans Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Bandcamp, Meta Ads, sync licensing, and royalty administration in 5 languages. Founded 2023, 3 years verified streams delivered 21 plus for indie artists campaigns analyzed 2,400 plus proprietary dataset research guides 250 plus published daily artist audits 100 plus Spotify plus YouTube platform coverage Spotify YouTube Music Apple Music Bandcamp Meta Ads TikTok sync licensing royalty administration. About Chartlex. Get a free artist audit. Browse 250 plus research guides methodology. Chartlex Research combines proprietary campaign performance data with public industry sources including IFPI Global Music Report, MIDA Research, Luminate Year-End, RIA, and Music Business Worldwide. All findings are refreshed quarterly. Last verified, August 23, 2026. Keep reading Money 20 minutes. Read Music Royalties Explained, Every Type Artists Need, 2026. All 6 music royalties explained with real payout numbers, mechanical, performance, sync, and digital, plus collection setup for indie artists. Daniel Brooks Money 20 minutes. Read Performance Royalties, How to Collect Every Dollar in 2026. Learn how performance royalties work and how to collect every dollar owed to you in 2026. Pro Comparison, Sound Exchange, Neighboring Rights, and more. Daniel Brooks Money 15 minutes. Read Vinyl Pressing Cost in 2026, Real Prices plus Break-Even Math. Vinyl Pressing Cost in 2026, Verified Plant Pricing at 100 to 1000 units, Setup Fees, Lead Times, and Break-Even Math at typical $25 to $35 indie pricing. Daniel Brooks Free Spotify Audit 2 minutes. No credit card get audit. Chartlex, the complete resource hub for independent music artists. Master streaming, marketing, and build a sustainable career. Browse Spotify packages. Get a free AI audit. Launch Artist Hub. Message us on WhatsApp. Learn blog. All resources free. Tools streaming, marketing, business, touring, money, career manage, takeover series, growth system, performance royalties, how to collect every dollar in 2026. Learn how performance royalties work and how to collect every dollar owed to you in 2026. Pro Comparison, Sound Exchange, Neighboring Rights, and more. DB Daniel Brooks March 11, 2026, updated April 27, 2026, 20 minutes. Read reviewed by the Chartlex editorial team. Editorial policy quick answer. An estimated $2.5 billion in music royalties goes uncollected globally each year, and performance royalties account for a significant share of that total. Most independent artists only collect one layer of performance royalties when they are owed 3 or 4. By registering with a Pro, Sound Exchange, and a neighboring rights organization, artists earning 50,000 monthly streams can recover an additional $600 to $1,800 per year in royalties they are currently missing. Last verified, May 3, 2026. Refresh cadence, quarterly. Chartlex finding, according to Chartlex, a music promotion company founded in 2018 that has delivered 21 plus verified Spotify streams for independent artists, analyzed 2,400 plus campaigns, published 250 plus music industry research guides, and runs 100 plus artist audits daily across Spotify and YouTube. Artists who register as both songwriter and publisher with their Pro collect an average of 85% more in annual performance royalties than those registered only as a songwriter. What are performance royalties, and why they matter? Performance royalties are payments generated whenever your music is performed publicly. The legal definition of public performance is broader than most artists realize. It covers radio airplay, terrestrial AM/FM, satellite radio, Sirius XM, and internet radio, Pandora, live venues, concerts, festivals, bars, restaurants, coffee shops, retail stores, gyms, interactive streaming, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon Music, Deezer, non-interactive streaming, Pandora, Sirius XM, iHeartRadio's digital channels, TV and film broadcasts, background music in shows, theme songs, commercials, public spaces, hotels, airports, doctors' offices, elevators, on-hold music. Every time your song plays in any of these contexts, a performance royalty is generated. The key distinction: performance royalties are paid to the songwriter and publisher, the composition copyright holders, not to the recording artist or label directly. This is where most independent artists get confused. If you wrote and recorded your own music, you hold both the composition copyright and the sound recording copyright. But these two copyrights generate separate royalty streams through separate collection systems. Your distributor, DistroKid, TuneCore, CD Baby, collects your recording royalties from streaming platforms. Your performing rights organization, PRO, collects your performance royalties. If you are not registered with a PRO, that money sits in a pool of unmatched royalties, and after a holding period, it gets redistributed to other rights holders. For a full breakdown of how performance royalties fit into the broader royalty picture, see Music Royalties Explained, Every Type Artists Need to Know. How to collect performance royalties, PROs Explained. A performing rights organization, PRO, is the entity that collects performance royalties on behalf of songwriters and publishers. When a radio station, streaming platform, venue, or broadcaster wants to play copyrighted music, they pay a blanket license fee to the PRO. The PRO then distributes that money to registered members based on usage data. In the United States, there are 3 PROs: ASCAP, BMI, and SESIC. Each operates slightly differently, and you can only be a member of one at a time. ASCAP vs BMI vs SESIC. Full comparison feature: ASCAP BMI SESIC membership fee $50, one-time free invitation only, members 950,000 plus 1.2 million plus 30,000 plus payout frequency quarterly, 45-day delay, quarterly, 5.5 month delay, monthly, fastest, minimum payout $1, direct deposit, $2, direct deposit, $25 open registration yes no, must apply / be invited, online registration ascap.com bmi.com sesac.com writer plus publisher separate registrations combined international affiliates 90 plus. Foreign pros 80 plus foreign pros fewer direct affiliates best for pop, rock, country, general hip hop, R&B, gospel, general Christian, Latin, Nashville-based. Which pro should you choose? For most independent artists, the choice comes down to ASCAP or BMI. Both are open to anyone and collect from the same sources. ASCAP requires a one-time $50 fee but tends to have a faster payout cycle. BMI is free to join but has a longer delay between when royalties are earned and when they hit your account. SESIC is invitation only and typically works with more established songwriters. If you are early in your career, start with ASCAP or BMI. You can switch later, but you cannot be a member of more than one at a time. For a detailed step-by-step walkthrough of the registration process, including how to set up your publisher entity, read the complete Pro Registration Guide. The publisher share mistake that costs artists 50%. Here is the single most expensive mistake independent artists make with performance royalties: they register as a songwriter with their Pro but never register as their own publisher. Performance royalties are split 50/50 between the songwriter and the publisher. If you do not have a publishing deal, you are your own publisher, but you still need to register a publishing entity with your Pro to claim that 50%. Without it, the publisher's share goes uncollected. According to Chartlex campaign data, Artists who register as both songwriter and publisher with their pro collect an average of 85% more in annual performance royalties than those registered only as a songwriter. Setting up your own publishing entity is straightforward. Choose a unique publishing company name. It cannot match any existing publisher. Register that name with your pro. ASCAP charges $50. BMI is free. Link your publishing entity to your songwriter account. Register all your songs under both your writer name and your publisher name. This single step immediately doubles the performance royalties you collect. For an artist generating 100,000 monthly Spotify streams, that publisher share alone could be worth $150 to $300 per quarter. Sound exchange and digital performance royalties. For the full registration walkthrough, claim windows, and split math, see Sound Exchange Explained for 2026. Sound Exchange is a separate collection agency that most independent artists have never heard of, and it collects money that no pro and no distributor touches. Here is the distinction: pros collect performance royalties on the composition, the song you wrote. Sound Exchange collects digital performance royalties on the sound recording, the specific recording you made. Sound Exchange specifically collects royalties from non-interactive digital transmissions, satellite radio, Sirius XM, internet radio, Pandora's free tier, iHeartRadio, college internet radio stations, cable TV music channels, non-interactive streaming services, background music services for businesses, Muzak, Mood Media. These royalties are paid directly to the recording artist and the sound recording copyright owner, usually the same person for independent artists. Sound Exchange splits its payments, 45% to the featured artist, 50% to the sound recording copyright owner, label or self-released artist, 5% to non-featured artists, session musicians, backup singers, via AFM and SAG-AFTRA. If you are an independent artist who owns your own masters, you receive both the 45% featured artist share and the 50% copyright owner share, a total of 95% of Sound Exchange royalties generated by your recordings. Registration is free at soundexchange.com. You register as both a featured artist and a sound recording copyright owner. After registration, you need to register each of your recordings in their database. How much money is involved? Sound Exchange distributed over $1.1 billion in 2025. The per-play rates for satellite radio and internet radio are significantly higher than interactive streaming rates. A single Sirius XM play can generate 2 cents to 8 cents, compared to $0.003 to $0.005 for a Spotify stream. The total streaming royalty, which includes the artist master share, songwriter mechanical, and performance share combined. If your music gets picked up by any satellite or internet radio format, these royalties add up quickly. Use the Chartlex revenue calculator to estimate your total royalty collection across all sources based on your current streaming numbers. If you are wondering how Sound Exchange income fits into your broader income picture alongside streaming and direct fan support, the complete guide to how musicians make money in 2026 covers every revenue layer. Neighboring rights. The international money. Most artists miss. Neighboring rights are the international equivalent of what Sound Exchange collects in the United States, but they cover a much broader range of uses and apply in over 70 countries worldwide. When your recorded music is played on terrestrial radio, in a shop, at a public event, or through any public broadcast in countries like the UK, Germany, France, Japan, Australia, Canada, and dozens more, the performer, not just the songwriter, is entitled to a royalty. These are neighboring rights. In the United States, there are no neighboring rights for terrestrial radio. AM/FM stations only pay performance royalties to songwriters through pros, not to recording artists. But in most other countries, both the songwriter and the performer get paid when a song plays on the radio. Key international collection societies. Country Society. What it collects. United Kingdom PPL recording performance royalties from UK radio, TV, Public Play Germany GVL performer royalties from German broadcasts and public venues France Adami/Speditum featured and non-featured performer royalties Japan CPRA performer royalties from Japanese broadcasts Canada Resound, formerly NRCC, recording performance royalties across Canada Australia PPCA recording performance royalties from Australian radio and venues Netherlands Cena performer royalties from Dutch broadcasts and public play how to collect neighboring rights free Spotify audit see exactly where your Spotify profile is leaking growth. Independent artists miss an average of $800/year in unclaimed royalties. Get my free audit. Or browse campaign plans. You have two main options. Option 1, register directly with collection societies in countries where your music gets significant airplay. This is free but time-consuming if you have listeners in many countries. Option 2, use a neighboring rights collection service that registers you with multiple societies at once. Services like Phonographic Performance Limited, PPL, in the UK can collect from partner societies across Europe. Some distributors and publishing administrators, Songtrust, CD Baby Pro, also offer neighboring rights collection as an add-on service, typically for a 15 to 20% commission. For independent artists with any international streaming presence, neighboring rights represent real money. An artist with 50,000 monthly listeners spread across multiple countries could be missing $200 to $800 per year in uncollected neighboring rights royalties, money that is generated every time their recording plays on radio or in public spaces outside the US. If you are comparing per-stream rates across markets to understand where your royalty income concentrates, the Tidal vs Amazon Music vs Spotify royalties comparison covers the full platform-by-platform math. How to register for performance royalties, step by step. Here is the complete checklist to make sure you are collecting every performance royalty dollar owed to you. Step 1, join a pro, ASCAP, BMI, or SESIC. Go to ascap.com or bmi.com, register as a songwriter/composer, provide your legal name, social security number, or ITIN, and contact information. Pay the one-time fee, ASCAP, $50, BMI, free. Step 2, register as your own publisher through the same pro, register a publishing entity, choose a unique publisher name, link it to your songwriter account. This claims the 50% publisher share of performance royalties. Step 3, register all your works. Log into your pro's online portal. Add every song you have written or co-written. Include co-writer splits if applicable. All co-writers must be registered with a pro. Include ISRC codes and UPC codes if available. Step 4, register with Sound Exchange. Go to soundexchange.com, register as both a featured artist and a sound recording copyright owner. Add your recordings to their database. This is separate from your pro and collects different royalties. Step 5, register for neighboring rights. If you have international listeners, register with PPL, UK, or use a collection service. Some publishing administrators handle this for a commission. Check whether your distributor offers neighboring rights collection. Step 6, file set lists for live performances. After every live show, submit your set list to your pro. ASCAP and BMI both have online set list submission tools. Many artists skip this step and miss out on live performance royalties. Even small venue gigs generate performance royalties. If you file. Step 7, set up direct deposit. Ensure your banking information is current with every collection organization. Set up direct deposit to avoid payment delays. Check your statements quarterly to verify you are receiving payouts. If you want a clearer picture of how your streaming performance translates into total revenue across all these channels, try the Spotify royalty calculator. It breaks down your per stream value by platform and market. Performance royalties vs mechanical royalties. One of the most common points of confusion for independent artists is the difference between performance royalties and mechanical royalties. Both are generated by the same Spotify stream, but they flow through different pipelines. Feature performance royalties, mechanical royalties. What triggers them? Public performance of a song, reproduction of a song. Streaming example, every Spotify stream. Radio example, terrestrial, satellite, internet. Not generated by radio, collected by pro, ASCAP, BMI, SESIC, MLC, Harry Fox Agency, distributor who gets paid songwriter plus publisher US statutory rate no statutory rate, blanket license, $0.131 per physical/download, 2026, Phono Records 4. Streaming rate $0.0008-$0.0012 per stream, Pro blanket, $0.001-$0.002 per stream, songwriter share, registration required yes, Pro membership, yes, MLC or admin. The critical point, a single Spotify stream generates both a performance royalty and a mechanical royalty. Your distributor does not collect either of these. Distributors collect the recording royalty, paid to the master copyright owner. The performance royalty goes through your pro, and the mechanical royalty goes through the Mechanical Licensing Collective, MLC, in the United States. If you are only collecting through your distributor, you are missing both the performance and mechanical royalty layers. For an artist generating 500,000 streams per month, these uncollected royalties can total $2,000 to $4,000 per year. Understanding how your distributor choice affects your take-home is essential for calculating your total income accurately. For a deeper breakdown of mechanical royalties and how to collect them, read Mechanical Royalties Explained for Musicians in 2026. Common mistakes that cost artists thousands. After reviewing royalty collection patterns across thousands of independent artists, these are the most frequent and expensive errors. 1. Not registering as your own publisher as covered above. This costs you exactly 50% of your performance royalties. For an artist earning $1,200/year in performance royalties, that is $600 left on the table, every single year. 2. Registering with multiple pros. You can only be a member of one pro at a time. If you registered with BMI years ago and then sign up with ASCAP, your songs are now split across two organizations with conflicting claims. This creates administrative confusion and delays payments. Pick one and stay with it unless you have a specific reason to switch. 3. Not registering songs after release. Many artists join a pro during their first release and register that initial batch of songs. Then they release more music over the next year and forget to register the new songs with their pro. Unregistered songs generate performance royalties that sit in an unmatched pool. Log into your pro portal after every release and register the new tracks. 4. Skipping Sound Exchange entirely. Sound Exchange is free to join and collects from sources that no pro covers. There is no downside to registering, and the upside can be substantial if your music gets any satellite or internet radio play. Yet the majority of independent artists have never created a Sound Exchange account. Recommended campaign 6,000 plus stream/month starter plan $149/mo. Turn your music into consistent revenue with 200 campaign streams hitting your profile daily. See plan details. Compare all plans verified in Spotify for artists. Geo-targeted. Cancel anytime. 5. Ignoring international collection. If even 10% of your listeners are outside the United States, you are generating neighboring rights royalties in those countries. Without registration, directly or through a collection service, that money goes to other rights holders. The longer you wait to register, the more historical royalties become unrecoverable. 6. Not filing setlists. Live performance royalties require you to submit setlists to your pro. Most independent artists who play shows regularly never file a single setlist. Even a 30-minute set at a small venue generates performance royalties worth $5 to $20 per show. Over 50 shows per year, that adds up to $250 to $1,000. 7. Incorrect metadata and splits. If your song titles, ISRC codes, or co-writer splits are entered differently across your pro, distributor, and Sound Exchange, the systems cannot match your royalties. Consistency in metadata is essential. Use the exact same song title, the exact same ISRC code, and the exact same co-writer split percentages everywhere. International collection, PRS, GEMA, SACM, and beyond. If you have listeners outside the United States, Understanding how international performance royalties work is essential to collecting the full amount owed to you. Each country has its own pro that collects performance royalties within its borders. These organizations have reciprocal agreements with US pros, ASCAP and BMI, meaning that in theory, your US pro should collect your international performance royalties and pass them along to you. In practice, this process is slow and incomplete. Reciprocal agreements between pros involve significant administrative delays, often 12 to 24 months, and smaller amounts sometimes fall through the cracks. Here are the major international pros. Country/region pro annual distributions: United Kingdom PRS for music over $900 million, Germany GEMA over $1.3 billion, France SACEM over $1.2 billion, Canada SACEM over $400 million, Australia Opera AMCOS over $350 million, Japan JAZRAC over $1 billion, Sweden STIM over $200 million, Netherlands BUMA/STIMRA over $250 million. For most independent artists, relying on reciprocal agreements through your US pro is sufficient. But if you have a significant listener base in specific countries, say, 20% or more of your streams come from Germany, it may be worth working with a sub-publisher or publishing administrator who has direct relationships with GEMA or other local pros to accelerate and maximize your collection. Services like Songtrust, TuneCore Publishing, and CD Baby Pro can act as your publishing administrator globally, registering your works with pros in dozens of countries simultaneously. They typically charge 10 to 20% of the royalties they collect, but 80 to 90% of something is far better than 100% of nothing. If your Spotify for Artists dashboard shows meaningful listener numbers in countries outside the US, and you want to grow those markets further, Chartlex streaming campaigns can help you build targeted listener bases in high royalty markets like Germany, the UK, and Scandinavia, where per stream royalty rates tend to be higher than in the US. Performance Royalty Rate Estimates, 2026. Performance royalties do not have a single statutory rate the way physical mechanical royalties do, locked at 13.1 cents per song under Phonorecords for 2026. Instead, pros negotiate blanket licenses with each medium and distribute proportionally. Here is the realistic 2026 picture for what each medium contributes per use. Medium approximate per stream/use rate. Source: Spotify, US. Performance share, $0.0008 to $0.0012 per stream. Pro blanket license rate. Radio, terrestrial, US, 10 cents to 30 cents per spin, estimated, varies by station. Audience TV background music, US, 25 cents to $5 per use, estimated, varies by show, time slot. Live venue, US, small, $30 to $1.50/year. Blanket fee per venue. ASCAP/BMI standard. Sirius XM, per spin, 2 cents to 8 cents. Sound exchange data. Pandora non-interactive, $0.0013 to $0.0017. Sound exchange plus Pro. These are estimates based on Pro blanket license data. Actual collection depends on venue type, audience size, Pro membership, and how comprehensively your works are registered. Based on royalty data analyzed across 2,400 plus Chartlex campaigns, artists who registered both songwriter and publisher entities, plus Sound Exchange, plus at least one neighboring rights society, collected roughly 2.3x more total performance income per stream than artists who only joined a pro. The biggest single recovery comes from claiming the publisher share that 60 to 70% of independent artists never set up. For deeper context on how the songwriter mechanical share interacts with these performance rates from the same Spotify stream, see the Mechanical Royalties Guide. Frequently asked questions: how long does it take to start receiving performance royalties after registering with a pro? Most pros have a 6 to 9 month delay between when a performance royalty is generated and when it reaches your bank account. ASCAP typically pays on a quarterly cycle with about a 6-month total lag. BMI's cycle runs closer to 7 to 9 months. SESIC pays monthly with the shortest delay of the three, usually 3 to 4 months. After your initial registration, You will also need to wait for your first full quarterly cycle to complete before the first payment appears. Can I switch pros if I am not happy with my current one? Yes, but the process takes time. You must formally resign from your current pro, most require written notice, wait for your resignation to take effect, which can take up to a year depending on the pro's terms, and then register with the new one. During the transition period, you need to make sure all your works are properly re-registered with the new pro. Most artists find the hassle is not worth it unless they have a compelling financial reason to switch. Do I need a pro if I only release music on Spotify and Apple Music? Absolutely. Your distributor collects your recording royalties from streaming platforms, the share paid to the master copyright owner. But Spotify and Apple Music also pay performance royalties to pros for every stream. If you are not registered with a pro, the performance royalty generated by your streams goes uncollected. For an artist with 100,000 monthly Spotify streams, that uncollected performance royalty could total $300 to $600 per quarter. What is the difference between Sound Exchange and My Pro? Your Pro, ASCAP, BMI, SESIC, collects performance royalties on the composition, the underlying song you wrote. Sound Exchange collects digital performance royalties on the sound recording, the specific recorded version. These are two completely separate royalty streams paid by two separate sets of sources. Your Pro collects from interactive streaming, radio, TV, and venues. Sound Exchange collects from non-interactive digital sources like satellite radio, internet radio, and cable music channels. You need to be registered with both to collect everything you are owed. On this page, what are performance royalties, and why they matter, how to collect performance royalties, pros explain Sound Exchange and digital performance royalties neighboring rights, the international money most artists miss, how to register for performance royalties, step-by-step performance royalties vs mechanical royalties, common mistakes that cost artists thousands, international collection, PRS, GEMA, SACM, and beyond, performance royalty rate estimates, 2026, frequently asked questions. Free resource Revenue Maximizer Guide. Discover the 7 revenue streams most independent artists miss, plus exact steps to claim uncollected. You're at email.com. Get it free weekly playbook, 1 actionable insight, every Tuesday. Join 5,000 plus independent artists getting algorithm updates, marketing tactics, and growth strategies. You're at email.com. Subscribe free, no spam. Unsubscribe anytime. Free audit, no card required. How much streaming revenue are you leaving on the table? Independent artists miss an average of $800/year in unclaimed royalties. The free audit shows your current royalty footprint, missing registrations, and which platforms are underperforming relative to your catalog size. Find my revenue gaps. Explore revenue tools. 5,000 plus artists audited takes 2 minutes. No credit card required. Already a customer? Open dashboard. Campaign dashboard. Turn knowledge into action. Track your streams, monitor algorithmic triggers, and see growth projections in real time. The campaign dashboard puts everything you just read into practice. See campaign dashboard. View pricing. 2,400 plus artists tracking their growth with Chartlex. About the publisher. About Chartlex. Chartlex is a music promotion company founded in 2023 that has delivered over 21 M plus verified Spotify streams for independent artists. We analyze campaign data across 2,400 plus artist promotion campaigns, publish 250 plus music industry research guides, and run 100 plus daily artist audits across Spotify and YouTube. Our coverage spans Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Bandcamp, Meta Ads, sync licensing, and royalty administration in 5 languages. Founded 2023, 3 years verified streams delivered 21 M plus for indie artists campaigns analyzed 2,400 plus proprietary dataset research guides 250 plus published daily artist audits 100 plus Spotify plus YouTube platform coverage Spotify YouTube Music Apple Music Bandcamp Meta Ads TikTok sync licensing royalty administration. About Chartlex. Get a free artist audit. Browse 250 plus research guides. Methodology. Chartlex Research combines proprietary campaign performance data with public industry sources including IFPI Global Music Report, MIDA Research, Luminate Year-End, RIA, and Music Business Worldwide. All findings are refreshed quarterly. Last verified, August 23, 2026. Keep reading Money 20 minutes. Read Music Royalties Explained, Every Type Artists Need, 2026. All 6 music royalties explained with real payout numbers, mechanical, performance, sync, and digital, plus collection setup for indie artists. Daniel